welcome back. With the majority of Americans working from home during the coronavirus pandemic, our devices are all being put to the test, whether by laptop or cell phone. Both need to be up to date in order for you to successfully work from home. Stephanie Humphrey is here to help us navigate our devices during this critical time. And Steph, I know you have worked remotely, so what are some of the tips you have for video conferences, which are so popular right now?
Yeah. So video conferences, top three things. Test your equipment first. So you want to make sure that your mic and your speakers are working. You also want to familiarize yourself with whatever software your company is using so that you know how to use it. That's the first thing. Headphones are key. You really want as clean as audio as you can get. And then mute yourself if you're not speaking. I know it's going to be tough these days to maybe find a quiet place in your house. So if that's not the case, make sure you're just muting yourself when you're not speaking. Also, if you don't need the video, turn the video off. We saw that viral video this week of a woman who unfortunately took her phone into the restroom. So you want to make sure that we're not having situations like that. You also want to make sure you're on Wi-Fi if possible. If you're on your smartphone, though, make sure you're somewhere that you're getting a really strong cell signal. And finally, make sure you're looking at the camera. I know a lot of people tend to look at the screen when they're video conferencing instead of the camera, and it makes a difference. You want to keep that connection with your teammates via video conference as well.
Yeah, I also saw something that went viral, not just what you're showing, but who the people in your house who may not know you're on a video call, walking behind you, not dressed appropriately. I saw that also this week, so also an FYI.
Always wear pants. That's the rule number one. Always wear pants.
Wear pants and assume someone in your house is viral, looking at a lot of other people who can see into your home. All right, you mentioned Wi-Fi. Obviously, it's important when you're working from home. So any tips on how to get the best connection, especially when a lot of people are on Wi-Fi in your home at one time?
Yeah. Well, it might be as simple as moving your router. You don't want to have your router next to any large metal objects in your home, and you don't want to have it next to any appliances that emit electromagnetic signals. So you really don't want your router right next to your television, which is where a lot of people keep it, or right next to that place where everybody charges their phones, or right next to a heater, or anything like that. So maybe just moving the router to a different place in the house might help with that. You can also make sure that the firmware is updated, so you'll need to go to the website of your internet service provider and log in there to make sure you're using the most up-to-date firmware. You also could change the channel on the router or the frequency. You can do that on the website of your internet service provider as well. Or you could invest in boosters, repeaters, extenders. They all kind of do the same thing, which is to amplify the signal around your home if you have any dead spots. Or you can just really kind of redo your network altogether and create a mesh network that will sort of replace your router and cover every area of your home. And one simple thing that you can do is make sure you have a strong password, because there could be some folks next door or a couple doors down that are stealing your Wi-Fi and weakening that signal as well.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially in apartment buildings. Now, I love this next tip because we're all used to communicating with each other, our coworkers, face to face. Sometimes things get lost in translation when you're doing this remotely. So give us some of the rules for remote communication between coworkers.
Well, think about what you need to communicate. If it's something that is company sensitive or maybe a little bit negative, you may not necessarily want to send that via email. You want to pick up the phone and have a call around that, because depending on whether or not you've actually logged into your works network or something like that, your security might be compromised. So you want to make sure that you're not having any conversations over your own Wi-Fi that might get compromised. Also, be respectful of others' time. You know, we're home. Everybody's home now. You know people are home. So you may tend to want to communicate with them whenever you get ready, and maybe it might be outside of office hours. So you want to be respectful of other people's time. You also don't want to inundate your coworkers with messages. So if you send that email, give them some time to respond. You don't want to follow up right away with that Slack message and then with a phone call 2 minutes after that. So give folks some time to respond and don't inundate them with messages. And then it might be a good idea too, if you don't already have them, if your company doesn't already have them, suggest that you establish some rules of communication. I know this